Good evening everybody, welcome back to the Bird Room. I'm Shane from Direct Bird Products. Rather than a midweek tip today, it's just a general talk about when birds have practically finished breeding season, because I've got definitely some pairs that are completely finished, some that are just, let's say, messing around, and some that, like the Brambles for instance, I'm not going to bother about them. I'll leave them to it because they are later breeders than other birds. So some of the canaries now have finished. They've had the 2 rounds, and for me that's definitely enough. But some of them, I'll tell you more. Obviously, how I would say why I've chose to stop them. So what are the telltale signs of when you would stop your birds from breeding? Apart from the obvious, obviously birds molting, because there is, obviously, with all the young ones, there's a lot of feathers around now and feathers everywhere. But apart from that, what other signs would you look for? Well, some of my hens, believe it or not, which one is it? Cage number 3, just over here. It's got a couple of fires in there, and obviously one that I have mentioned before, a greenfinch, which the hen didn't feed. So I obviously fostered it with that one. Now, I didn't take the nest out because obviously what happened is the young fledged, and literally the day they fledged, she was back sitting on there, and when I went to check, she'd obviously laid an egg in there. I'm not going to let her sit this one. For the time being, what happens is the young ones at night time go back into the nest to roost anyway. So I've just been taking the eggs out and not worrying about them too much, because they've had, for me, they've had the 2 rounds. But what will happen with them is, if I was to leave them in, she may incubate the eggs to the full stage of 14 days, the chicks may hatch. But almost guarantee you, when they've finished and starting to molt, they will not feed the chicks. I've had it in the past before where I've had a Gloucester's, when my son used to have Gloucester's, and the hen went in the molt. She had chicks that are about 10 days old, and she just completely stopped feeding. I've had the same with greenfinches. A split Lutino cock that I got from Gary Lister, and what happened is they left the nest. There was a nest of 3 and a couple of Lutinos in there. Left the nest, and they was on the floor calling for food, and the hen just wouldn't feed them. So rather than go through that type of heartache, rather than do that, I just stop them and let them have a natural molt where they're not stressed around trying to cope with feeding another round of birds. Another telltale sign is if the hen is on eggs. I've got a couple down at the bottom there, and when they come to that stage, the hens just won't sit tight, so the eggs won't, they might form, but chances are they'll be dead in shell because they've not been incubated properly. And not only that, half the time when it comes to hens falling out of condition, or even the cocks, the eggs would be clear anyway. So they're mainly the telltale signs of when it's time to call it a day for that breeding season. So that is what I'm aiming to do over the next few days, is start cutting back and taking the nest sites out for mainly the canaries. Some of the greenfinches, I have noticed some of the greenfinches have slightly gone off colour and started dropping wing bars and things like that. So it is definitely time. And not just that, if you put them through, if you're wanting 3 or 4 rounds out of them, you're putting them birds through a lot of stress, which they don't need through the molt. So when it comes to molting, you want, like I've said previously, that you want less stress as possible on your birds. So 2 rounds, it's always good to hear. They're feeding the young greenfinch up there now, as you can probably hear. Yeah, done a fabulous job this year with the feeders, the cockbirds especially. They've really outdone themselves. So yes, think about it. If you are going to look for 4 rounds out of a bird, how much stress you're going to take out of that hen to try and feed them chicks? And if you're looking to breed with that next year, it's just not advisable. And think about it. not just on the whole aspect of numbers with birds. My idea, as well as obviously a lot of other exhibitors, would be to get these in peak condition for the show season if we should have one. And if you leave them to breed as late as possible, then they're not going to have a good molt, a nice clean molt as they call it, and be ready up for the show bench. This doesn't mean that everyone's breeding season's over. This is just my opinion on my birds. Now, take into consideration, before I moved to this property, where I was previously, my birds used to come into condition in February just because of the position of my shed. Since being here the last couple of years and obviously adjusted the position of the shed, they come into condition later. Mine started coming into condition in March, but I did hold them back, as a lot of regular viewers will know. I held them back as much as possible. Sometimes it's not good for the birds, and knowing the fact that the breeding season would end earlier, it's not good, because I could have made the most of the breeding season that the birds would be in the position of. But at the end of the day, birds they'll breed when they're ready, and there's no these are fighting, so these are definitely finished. These pair of green finches, another sign. What will happen as well, you will look at your cock birds and think, literally overnight they'll just stop singing. You'll go in one day and the shed will be full of noise with all the cock birds singing and sounding tremendous, but then literally it'll just start to stop, because when the birds are in the molt, the cock birds don't sing. They do, but not in full song like they do when they're in breeding condition. So yeah, it's just one of those where, yeah, these are going to have to be split up, where the birds just go off colour and breeding season is done. And think of it this way, would we want breeding season to go on all year? Because I definitely wouldn't. It's a lot of hard work and mess, if you like, because one thing I do like is at the end of the breeding season I can actually get my cages a nice deep clean and get them sorted. Then obviously I'll do them a really deep clean. What I'm talking about a deep clean is disinfect, pull everything out, disinfect the cages, and same procedure what I would have done when it comes up towards breeding season. But as it is, all I've been getting weekly now is just a quick draw, pull out, a clean round and easy bed back in. But the fact that obviously it's coming to an end, I'm not worried about disturbing birds no more. Hens are not on chicks, they're not on eggs, well, majority of them anyway, so I can relax a little bit more. But like I said, that's not for everybody. I do know, I had a nice phone call this morning off one of our regular viewers saying his Gloucester has just laid eggs, and he's obviously just starting, but he's got them obviously in the house. I've got them in a bird room. And this is what I say, everything is different. All the positions of the shed, the light aspect, the eating, there's loads of different aspects of birds in condition. So don't just think birds are going to fall out of condition just like that. It's to do with so many different minute aspects of the bird being in condition. Not a diet change, not a vitamin change, just the pure fact of they've had the breeding cycle and they're slowing down, ready to get into the moult, ready to get the winter plumage on, to sail through winter, which I think is a lot of the birds, the brambles and stuff, the best when they're in the winter feather. But yes, that's it for that. It was just a quick mention on moulting. It's one thing that a lot of people, if this is the first year with birds, might be a bit concerned about, because I've said before that birds they would like to die if they're weaker in the molt, and it's nothing to be scared about. It's just like I said, the molt will do away with the weaker birds. This is why I'm finishing for my breeding season. Peak condition, straight through the molt, should have no problems then come through winter. So moving on to Friday. what I would like to show you is more of the birds in the stages of moulting, and I look at some of this year's young birds. There's a lot of five canaries, all greens and heavily variegated, that type of stuff. Some young green finches. We've also got some young red poles, young Norwich. We've got a few of everything except for brambles. No brambles. Nothing you can do about it. So yes, that'll be on Friday at 7 o'clock as per usual. If you do need any bird products, head over to our website, directbirdproducts.com. We have got a load more products coming in this week, which will be loaded on before the weekend. Take a look at them, or keep an eye on the Facebook page for further updates. We also will be at Sutton Bird Sale on Sunday, the 4th of July. Postcode for that is SM1 3HH. If you need any more information, send me a message on Facebook, or even through the website, or even comment below on this video. Anyway, thanks for watching, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you on Friday.